What's a dream project that you have, a painting project?
I don't know. We talked about this a little bit last time, but I'd like to do a series of canvases that fit together. So maybe 3 together and, have those of the same scene or the same theme, but, they run together. And they'd probably be rather large formats. I paint anywhere down 8 by 10. My bigger pieces are 44 by 60. Get 2 or 3 big canvases together and have a continuum, and then someday see them on somebody's wall, if anybody's got a house that big or a wall that big.
There might be some in Great Falls that big, yeah.
Oh, there are definitely some.
They're building absolute mansions.
That's something that I'm kind of aspiring to, and hopefully either I'll find a commission or I'll just get motivated and do a couple and see what happens.
Yeah. What is your process when you start painting? Do you do sketches? Is it photographs?
I have a bunch of photographs that I call potential paintings that I've collected over time. And then I also have some little boxes of photographs, in files that are subject matter. So I have a Japanese file, and I have a bridge file, and I have an aspen file. And, when I'm starting to burn out of a subject, let's take bamboo, I'm kind of burning out right now. I pick those files up and I start to thumb through them. I've already established that I like some of those pictures, otherwise I wouldn't have put them in that file. Now I'm going, okay, I'm looking for motivation. What's going to strike me? What's going to strike me? And invariably, you'll find 2 or 3 that in that moment you're kind of wanting to explore. And I save those, I print them off on a paper so I don't forget which one I was really looking at. Then I might, depending on what that picture looks like, I might go on an editor like Canva, for instance, and start playing with colors and say, okay, I'm going to distort the heck out of this painting or this photograph and maybe get some ideas of how I might want to execute that. I'm not trying to replicate the photograph. I'm using that photograph for inspiration. Like this painting behind me, it's a hillside of trees, but, by the time I got done machinating them, they almost look like they're floating a little bit. So they're, you may not be able to tell it's a hillside any longer, but that's where it started. And so I take that painting and my canvases, I start thinking about how I'm going to do the underpainting on this canvas. How am I going to prime it? I have 2 approaches. I either use oil or I use acrylic. And I'm really into the acrylic right now because it gives me so much freedom without using solvents to make the underpainting run and blend, kind of the thing you get from a watercolor. And I can also scratch in negative areas. If you catch that painting right before it dries, you can get your palette knife out and start scratching away. And I find that makes a really good foundation to come on top and put the oils on. Because the oil will give me that depth, that more precision, more detail, and I leave that underpainting a little bit more vague. And so all of a sudden, I'm already into a depth situation, and those 2 mediums are complementing one another, hopefully.
Okay, so you've got a combination then of acrylic and oil.
A lot of those, the ones behind me are the same way. And I like to do impasto painting with my oils. So I use a lot of palette knife. I use a lot of thick layers. I'm not a big fan of wet on wet. Sometimes I segregate, or by using the palette knife, it prevents that mixing. That invariably happens on a canvas when you start to take wet on wet with a brush.
Sure. You start to make mud.
Unless you've segregated those areas, you come up with what I call chocolate milk, you call mud. And, that color may look good on your living room wall, but doesn't look very good in a painting. I typically finish my paintings off after they dried with a semi-gloss or a gloss varnish. And that helps protect the painting. And that also, for me, it makes the acrylic pop a lot better because the acrylic tends to be a little duller while the oils, they have a little luminosity. So that's kind of the process.